Morning, lovely. Great to see you. I'm giving myself the option to go inside after I've shown you around today because it is kind of breezy, but it's too beautiful not to show you what's happening out here. So, without further ado, this is the main event. It's the nearings. I know I showed you the big bunch that's in the front garden. Well, this is the back, and it's pretty fabulous. So, I know the sun's hitting them really hard and it's kind of glary, but we'll go a bit closer. Hi Alicia, Victor, good morning. There are the nearings in the back garden. They're so beautiful. They just come out en masse. Good morning Heather, good morning Janine. Yay, it's great to see you. Just savouring these gorgeous flowers. And then there's a whole lot of them here as well. And they come out here faster and also in more numbers because there's more sun on this side of the circle. But you can see, if we go around, see there's some buds. And they'll come up later, and we've got some late larkspur. They'll come up later, but this first flush is pretty gorgeous. Kathleen, good morning. So just enjoying them, and yeah, they get chewed. The pink ones just seem to be really delicious to the insects, and you know, insects are precious and we need them. So may they enjoy their dinner. Here we go, we'll get up close and look at this some more. And it doesn't seem to be too windy out here. It's quite breezy at the top of the hill, so I thought maybe I'd have to do this inside. Look at this, I know the flowers, there's only a couple of flowers. 8, and they're just buds. See, there's a bud there. But this is the cassia plant, and the foliage is just beautiful. It's a lovely colour. Morning, Kelly Bird. And I love seeing this thing grow. And the other thing that's nice is if you just run your hand along the thing and then smell it, it's just the most beautiful scent. Morning, Sharon. Great to see you. And if you pick those leaves and you smell them a minute or two later, the scent is gone. It's only when they're on the bush. So here we have the lemon tree and the campanula that just flowers all the time. More nearings, you know, this is autumn. It's beautiful. Blue sky, which I'm very grateful to see. It's just a beautiful day. So we're going to stay out here. I don't need to go inside. I've worked out that it's, you know, blue sky, right? There is a bit of cloud. There's more cloud over the harbour than there is here. But mostly we just got blue sky up here. And there it is, just waving in the wind. So, now, yesterday's topic was so good, really. And it's just funny the way we get sort of led to these interesting conversations. Because they're not things that I would necessarily think about, you know, because they're not big in my life. They used to be, back in the days when I didn't understand this stuff. And so we had this conversation yesterday about people who don't want you to change. Primarily, not actually because they're complete assholes, much as it feels like that often, but because when we change, it's threatening. We become an unknown and they don't know what to do. Oh, you did some earthing. It does feel really good, Kelly Bird. Oh, yes. Yes, totally. So good. We are very electrical beings. We are electrical, we are magnetic, and that balance makes a big difference. So, you know, people get scared when we change because they know what to do and how they're going to feel and what to expect when we behave the way that they know what to do. And when we behave differently, they don't know what to do and they have to change their game. And sometimes they change their game and they keep playing, and sometimes they walk off the court. And we can't control that. But we can decide how we're going to play our game. You know, just the metaphor of the tennis game or whatever game you like. If you change how you interact with somebody, they are going to have to change how they interact with you. It's non-negotiable. And if they don't like how they have to be when they change, then they may very well just go away. And, you know, quite often that's a good thing. If they have been horrible, if they have been negative, if they have been difficult, it's actually really nice when they bugger off. I shouldn't say that. It's kind of awkward if it's family. But But, we have this idea about family that we're all supposed to be happy families and lovey-dovey together. And sometimes it's just not like that. And we actually have to let go of the mythological, iconic idea of happy families and that I should be sad because I don't have a quote-unquote happy family. And we kind of have to face ourselves and get real and say, okay, this is my loss. This is what I don't have. This is what I didn't have. Now, okay, am I going to continue to let that define me for the rest of my life? Or am I going to create more connections that I prefer better? Diversion. So, what I wanted to talk about today, something you said, Charlotte, I know you'll see this, very astute observation. And we talked a little, it sort of came out of this thing where I was saying, as much as it's very easy and also quite accurate to say, well, that person's resisting my change, right? That person doesn't want me to change and their behaviour is escalating. Okay, because my change threatens them, fine, but bastard, bitch, whatever. But actually, that resistance in some way means that I'm still entangled with that person and their behaviour. And by that I mean on a quantum level, because everything is quantumly entangled, and look up quantum entanglement. I'm not going to try to explain it. I feel it more than be able to say, well, this and this and this means that. Because we are all quantumly entangled with each other, the only way that something can stick around in my life and continue to cause problems is because it's still part of me, somehow. So, if somebody is hanging around and being difficult, somehow it's still part of me, because I've just watched and listened to too many stories of people who made the change inside themselves, and from one day to the next, or 1 hour to the next, one moment to the next, the whole thing changed. That other person changed their behaviour with completely no problem about it, because they were no longer entangled with the old experience, old expectations, and that's what we're talking about today. Because when you have a person, and we'll stick with people, but it could be a situation, it could be a health condition, it could be your finances, could be whatever. Because we have a relationship with everything, right? Bear that in mind. If you're in your life and you're thinking, well, I don't have difficult relationships, and that's me now. I don't have difficult relationships because I just don't bother being around people that I don't like. No, and I get that choice because I created my life that way. But if you have a difficult experience with money, right, which has been how it was for me, it's changing now, it's amazing. And I don't mean that there's money pouring in, there's more coming than there was, but I've changed my relationship with it, and so my physical reality is changing to match. But you build up these expectations about that person, and let's say that it's the workplace, because it's relatively easy to use as an example. And you had a bad experience with a boss or a co-worker or whatever, right? And it was bad enough that it was painful, and it sort of, you made a memory. Terry, good morning! Because that's what the brain does. We have a new experience, strings together a new set of neurons and says, that person said this thing to me, and I felt bad, and I'm going to remember that. Because, you're a little bit emotionally branded about that now. There are connections in your brain. And because it was painful, you go home and you remember it and you fire and wire it some more. And it becomes a thing that you remember. That was painful, right? Now, what's going to happen tomorrow? You're going to wake up in the morning, and because that thing was painful, before too long, you're going to remember what happened yesterday. And boom, that neural network, which you just created yesterday and fired and wired and went, oh yeah, that was horrible, and now I resent that person, or I fear that person, or whatever that person, fires up again, and all the chemistry goes again, and now you're living it again. So, if you were scared yesterday after that event, now you're scared and you're not even at work yet. If you were angry after the event, now you're angry and you're not at work yet. You're lying in bed. You've just remembered it. You've made it real again. And do you think that if you go off to work, and that person said, I hate them, I'm so angry, by the time you get to work, you're just in a really bad state and you're ready to eat them alive. Or you're ready to fight, you're ready to flee because they scare you. I'm so glad it's on point, Sunshia. It's a big thing. We do this because your expectations, what you now expect that person to do, be, whatever, is based on your experience of the past. And just because that person was a complete bitch yesterday doesn't actually mean that they are going to be a complete bitch today. Maybe they were feeling sick. Maybe they had something awful happen to them, whatever. You don't know. I mean, maybe they have been like that forever and ever. But, if they have been like that forever and ever, then you also have a neural net in your brain and a chemical conditioning in your body that says, this is how I feel about this person. This is how this person is going to be with me. This is how I'm going to respond to them, because this is my familiar self and this is how it works. And that is the quantum entanglement. You hold all of that. You think it, you feel it, and it becomes automatic after a while with difficult people that we just automatically feel scared, and we don't even realise, you're driving past the entrance to the street that you turn down to go and see that person that you have to go and see sometimes, and you're not going there, but you're driving past the place where you would turn off to go and see them, and suddenly your body's going, I feel scared, and you think, why am I suddenly having an anxious sort of turn of the stomach? And your brain is doing it for you. It's priming you, it's preparing you for that scary experience that you expect. And you are quantumly entangled with that. It's just become who you are. That when you go down that road, this is how my body feels and this is what I'm expecting. And even if that person has a landslide change in their consciousness, which has been known to happen, because, hey, it happens to us, it could happen to them. We don't know everything. If you go back into that situation with the same expectation and the same emotion and the same thoughts in your head, it's kind of like a lock. It's going to invite the same key. That's quantum entanglement. Kind of. Really. Yeah, actually, more or less. Surprise myself with how this comes through sometimes. So, okay, fine, yeah, but it really was painful, and I really do remember it, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember it like it was 5 minutes ago. It doesn't matter that it was 40 years ago. It happened over and over and over and over and over again, and you're asking me to forget it, Maddie? No, you can't just suppress that and say, I'm not going to remember that now. My body's conditioned. Your body is conditioned to that. It knows how to do that automatically. It is like autopilot. You're totally right, Victor. We feel absolutely trapped because we don't know how to do things, how to feel, how to be differently. Because you can do something differently, you can think a new thought, you can say, I declare that I don't feel like this anymore. And your body is just, yeah, right. You're still scared. You're still in lack. You still feel useless, whatever it is, right? You think, oh, well, that didn't work. So how? Right? How do we do this? How do we somehow break out of these expectations that lock us into this predictable future now? It's predictable. You're going to go and see that person and you're going to even if they do nothing, you're going to be expecting them to hurt you. God, do I remember this, honestly. I had a very difficult colleague. I mean, he was known to be difficult, right? Everybody found him difficult. Nobody knew what to do with him, including me. And back in those days, I had so much fear in me. I mean, he has so much fear. I recognised, I understood. He survived trauma. It was clear, it was obvious, written all over him. But nobody knew what to deal with him, really. He was a bully. Nobody knew how to do things differently with this guy. It's like, oh my God, what do I do? So, and remembering what I said yesterday, that there is no stock and trade answer for this. We have to create ourselves, we have to pay attention, we have to be present, we have to be creative. But this is kind of a baseline thing that I might start to do. You can't keep walking into those things and continue to be in reactive mode and say, well, I've got to be this to avoid that thing that they'll say if I do this, and I've got to do that so that they won't do this. It's all about you're shaping yourself around that other person and what you think they're going to do, be, whatever. And as you're doing that, you're just totally reinforcing that pattern. You can't do anything else once you're in that space. So it's got to stop being about them. And it's got to start being about you, because when you invest your attention into something, you put your energy there. So if you are giving all your attention to anticipating that person and what are they thinking now, and what are they going to say here, and what are they going to do here, and how can I avoid that? It's all about the other person. You are investing your energy into that really dysfunctional relationship, right? Yeah, habitual reactions. Yes, yeah, because they are so hardwired. And you don't, and like you say, Victor, it's a program, right? So one of the things we have to do, and this is the kind of thing that I would tend to want to unpack with a person one-on-one in a coaching session or in the Heartfield, because there are no blanket answers. I'm not going to pretend. But one of the things you have to do is stop making it all about the other person and start making it all about you. You've got to pull your attention and therefore your energy back to yourself. So when you notice yourself thinking, oh, that person, I hate them, and the thing goes off inside you, hang on a minute, I have the opportunity to at least observe my emotions. Maybe not even try to stop them. Because if you've been feeling that way for 30, 40 years or 10 years or 5, whatever, however long it's been, you're not going to be able to stop the emotions. But if you can become the person that is observing your emotions, instead of being in the program like you're in the matrix and you don't know that it's going on, you're just running around, you become the person that starts to observe the program. That is the first thing. The first way to get out of that autopilot, Victor, for all of us, is to think, oh my God, what am I doing here? What am I feeling? Oh my God, I've been feeling these feelings for the last however long. I didn't even realize I was torturing my body like this, because it is really torment for the body. Hi, Heather. You know, you go into all that stress and all that. God, I remember doing this. I so remember doing this. And it still happens, just not so much, because I'm more aware. Isn't it I don't react? I'm just more aware of myself. So to start watching yourself, to start observing yourself, and oh my God, here I am, ready to go off. I want to run to the hills now. I feel like this person is a Tyrannosaurus Rex and they're going to rip off my head. Oh yes, all the past over the place. Well done, Kelly Bird. Hi, Charlotte. It's great to see you talking about your topic, honey. So yeah, and see, it's windy out here, but it's so beautiful. I just gotta, so whatever. So we've got to start noticing ourselves, because until you notice your response and your fear and your anger and your knee-jerk and your desire to go back into the old thing, to try to placate, to try and be nice, to try and smooth it all over, to try and make it better, all those things are about the other person. We've got to stop that. We've actually got to come back to ourselves and say, oh wow, this is who I'm being. I'm being the pleaser again, because I'm scared that if I don't please, something bad's going to happen to me, because it's happened so many times. And, there's some sanity. If you know that if you do a certain thing, somebody's going to hit you, there's got to be a middle road. There is always a middle road. There's always a way to keep yourself safe while you create this change. And I know I said that yesterday. Even if it's just that you decide, I'm going to observe myself and try to imagine a different feeling, which can be really hard when your body is saying, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die. Your stomach is churning and, it can be really hard. But just observe that and think, hang on a minute. Whew. And this person's yelling at me, or they're throwing a guilt trip on me. Oh my God, that's really big. I feel so bad because I'm hurting them. No, you're not. They're hurting themselves. Yeah, and you cannot kiss her ass. No, because then you're reinforcing the very thing you want to change. And you can only demonstrate, feel, think who it is that you want to be, and what expectations you do want to have. And when the neural nets and the chemistry is really conditioned, it can feel so intellectual, not natural, not right, really wrong to say, actually, I'm just not going to be that scared person anymore. I'm still feeling terrified, but I'm not going to willingly continue to do, be, think, behave like this. So that is courage when you're still feeling all that fear because the old program is running in your body and your brain, and you sit there and don't do the thing you would normally do. Crystal, it's gorgeous to see you. That's a change. You don't start feeling fantastic when you start noticing, first of all, what you're doing and who you're being and what you're embodying. It doesn't feel natural because it's natural for you to do the other thing. It's natural for you to be beaten down or angry or bitter or fearful or guilty or sorrowful or whatever. It feels totally wrong to do something else. Hi, Colin. Morning. It does. It feels completely wrong. And you have to understand that's normal. And you have to understand that when you say, I'm going to expect something different from that person today, I own that I've been expecting them to be a certain way for the last 10 years. And today I'm going to expect something different. And everything in your head will say, are you nuts? Are you losing your mind? And the answer is, yeah, I am. I'm losing the mind I need to lose. So your own brain, your own thinking is saying, you're delusional. They're just going to carry on being the way they've always been. And my answer to that is, yeah, until I start expecting something different, they will. Sod off. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to dare to do something new. And you know what? If they don't change today, do you think that I've been expecting them to be a certain way for a while and it might take more than one day to do something else, to create something else in myself? Sunshine, it's great to see you. And yay, Terry. You see, you're all calling these conversations to yourselves. And I've just looked at the clock and I know that we're done. So, to just realise it's going to take some time and it's not going to feel right, it's not going to feel normal, it's going to feel stupid, it's going to feel crazy, your body's going to rebel and say no, keep on in your resentment and your fear because at least you know what to do and how to survive. It's like, no, choose something new. Disinvest your energy from that person and their stuff and invest it in yourself. Sounds easy. It's not. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But that's what we're about. That's what we're doing now. And just waving my hand and saying, I'll be back in 3.5 hours to tell you what our Sangmarie Gomez has been doing. It's been a real ride. He's had a really interesting time, but I'm going to update you in 3.5 hours. So if you want to be live with me, that'll be great. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Look out for the posts. It's pretty awesome what's been going on. Big love to you. See you soon. Bye-bye.